Hey everyone, Luca here. This installment, we're actually going to go back because a couple weeks ago I did a bit of a walk and talk about a client's property and their issues with tenants and the tenants not paying rent and they had to go to the tribunal. So, and we got some pushback on that, which of course everybody's got an opinion and everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I guess some of the comments that were made, I guess, didn't sit well with me because unfortunately, they're uninformed and they're out of context. So I want to just make some clarifications to that, and I'll give you a quick update now too before we get into it. So the frustrating part is that this property literally is being held hostage by these tenants now. So they had the hearing almost a month ago. They still haven't been given a decision. The tenants are still saying, even though they've been communicating with the property manager, saying that they're in the process of moving out, still haven't finished moving out. So the landlord can't access the property, still can't take over the property. And then on top of it, he received a notification from Utilities Kingston, and this happens only in the former city of Kingston with Utilities Kingston, that these tenants had not paid their utility bills since last September. So now he's faced with an outstanding utility bill in excess of $2,500 plus late fees, because Utilities Kingston wouldn't waive those, for utilities that these people signed on to pay that they didn't. It's one thing to say that, tenants are getting taken advantage of and everything, and I understand that happens and landlords take advantage of things. But it's another thing when someone signs commitments or contracts and then just doesn't operate in good faith. Because obviously these people had no intention not only of not paying the rent, but of living there for free, given that they didn't pay the utilities either. But anyway, let's get into some of these comments. Maybe the landlord should get a real job instead of depending on others to provide their income. Well, William, the landlord definitely has a real job, actually. He lives outside of the city in the GTA. He's a hardworking individual. In fact, this was his grandparents' home, which is one of the reasons he bought the home, and with the intention of maybe someday even moving back to Kingston, because that's where he grew up and everything. And now, unfortunately, this whole situation has tainted not only his experience, but this property. So when he does finally get control of the property, he probably will be selling it, sadly. Maybe don't charge $2,000 plus a month on rent. Actually, the rent was $2,500 plus the utilities. There was 4 adults living in this home that were all interrelated or interconnected, all gainfully employed. Otherwise, we wouldn't have actually accepted their applications. But when we vetted them, they were all employed. So it was actually under market rent at the time for the property. Just buy a house. Sure, let me just sell everything and go homeless for a bit while I get that down payment ready. Not even sure what to address there other than, I know it's challenging out there for people trying to get qualified and there's a shortage of housing and affordable housing. I get that. This landlord, as I said, wasn't trying to take advantage of anybody. It's an asset that he bought back so that he could keep it in his family. We charged a market rent and he went into this expecting things to happen the way they should happen in the world. Apartments should stay in apartment buildings. Homeowners should live in the home they own. It's quite a simple concept. Wow. Well, that addresses a lot of things. One primarily that comes to mind, I guess, is the fact that we live in a country where you'd like to succeed and move ahead. And some people, whether they have investments through RSPs or through the stocks or whatever, and some people like real estate as an investment. I've done this for 35 years and I firmly believe in real estate as an investment. The fact remains that this property isn't being kept empty and depriving somebody of a place to live. It's actually being offered to rent. So it is giving somebody an opportunity to live. I don't fault anybody for wanting to buy real estate to keep it as an asset and offering it for rent. And there is a certain percentage of the population that just aren't able to buy and need to rent, whether it's for a short term or a long term, because maybe this is a stepping stone for them to try to get time to get better employed or save down payment or sort things out given a family makeup or a family breakup. Who knows what the circumstances are? I think those that own property are do so not only for their own cause, but if it's offering it as rental accommodation, it's helping potentially others in terms of trying to get their feet back on the ground too. The LTB in this province is a joke. Case closed. Well, that speaks for itself. It certainly is silly now that 30 days after the fact, this gentleman still hasn't been given a decision on a hearing that was pretty much open and shut. Well, I'm happy for him. Hopefully he was smart enough to save the money and go live in a nice, beautiful home rather than a piece of garbage apartment. Totally out of context and totally uninformed in the sense that this is a really nice single family home actually in the city central area, Balsam Grove area. So it's not It's not a piece of crap apartment. It's not a poorly maintained home. This landlord's been diligent all through his ownership in terms of attending to maintenance issues and everything else. That's a little bit out of left field. Eat the landlords. Yeah, I mean, again, you're dumping everybody into the same pool. Not everybody is a landlord that sits in an ivory tower that has billions of dollars in assets. A lot of people are just literally hardworking people that try to get ahead like everybody else. Slumlords are evil. And again, yeah, slumlords are evil. Those that exist. I'm not saying they don't, and they certainly do, and they should be held accountable. But certainly tenants that are not operating in good faith and not good people should be held accountable for their actions as well. So there you go. Everybody's got an opinion. Obviously, this is a pretty contentious issue. It polarizes people on both sides. But again, I just wanted to clear the air. I guess any publicity is good publicity, and this was certainly a touchstone for a podcast. So I appreciate the comments and I appreciate the interest. Thanks very much, and we'll catch you on the next one.